Good morning, everybody. It is June 13th here on the coast of North Carolina. I live in the Outer Banks, and I thought I would give you a quick rundown of what my June garden looks like right now. Now, I'm going to give you a heads up. My garden's a mess. I need to do a lot of cleanup, a lot of weeding in my mulch that surrounds my beds because it's starting to grow back. Even though I did go through and treat with vinegar and salt, and a lot of it's gone, but only half of the garden got done, and I've got to get another load of mulch and finish the other side. So anyway, here we are. So this is when you first enter my garden. I have a temporary fence up around it for this time being until I finally get a wooden fence going. But as you can see, I've got Mexican hyssop growing. Oh, and a lot of the things that are in here are still waiting to get planted, so they're in temporary pots, but I'm getting to that. I work 12-hour shifts, days and nights, and then off for 4 days. And so, yeah, I'm doing the best I can. So anyway, so we got some mint growing. We've got my peaches, which it's the first year I've had this tree, and already I have peaches on them. But I also have some brown spots. So I've got to look into that and see what's going on. But I've got lavender and yarrow planted underneath it with some sweet alyssum. And of course, my little fairy is just doing just fine as she sits around in the shade. Then I've got some lamb's ear that needs to get planted, as well as this plant right here, which the bees, I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but there's like a little bee down in there, and he is just going to town. They love that plant. They love all of these plants. My elderberry's doing okay. I've got a grapevine over there that I'll show you in just a little bit. Over on that side, I've got some big watermelons growing. My onions, I grew onions last year. They didn't do very well. These are actually doing better than the ones last year. That's for darn sure. But there's some carrots in there too. And then I've got onions over there. Now, I can't remember which is which, but one is white and one is yellow. I made the mistake of doing some long day onions instead of short day, which where I am in zone 9A, I should be growing short day onions. So I don't know. My strawberries, I already had a huge thing of strawberries come off of there. However, they're looking a little rugged, so I'm working on them, but I love my green stalk planter. That thing's pretty cool. You just water the top of it. Let me see if I can show you. You just put the water in the top, and it goes down and trickles down to the very bottom of the planter. And you only have to do this every now and then. Now I've got some little lights, solar lights in there too. I've got some pineapple sage growing. I've got a cherry tree in that pot, and the one that's leaning over there is still waiting to get potted up. That's another cherry tree, so they can cross-pollinate. So I still have to work on that. But like I said, I do have carrots growing in amongst my onions, but on top of that, I have a carrot bed, and that's got all kinds of different carrots in it. The ones that I grew last year that I really, really liked that did super well were the Kyoto Reds, and I'd never seen a red carrot before. And I gave my neighbor some, and she's been gardening for years and years and years in her parents' garden. She said, I never in my life have seen a red carrot, but it was the sweetest carrot I'd ever tasted. So hopefully we're going to get a really good bit of carrots. That ridiculous amount of oregano, which I have cut back 3 times already this season, I planted last year, and amazingly it overwintered and came back with a vengeance. And I have tons of oregano. So if you live near me and you know who I am and you want some oregano, hit me up and I'll give you some. But in this bed, I have 7 peppers. 7 peppers that are growing. This one's starting to get a little bit of sunburn on it. I just noticed. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that one's got some sunburn. So I'm going to have to pull that one. But yeah, it's got peppers growing. I've already pulled some off. There are different kinds of peppers. I cannot remember for the life of me what they are right this minute. I think some are California Wonder, and another one is an Emerald Giant, I think. But yeah, look at that. Some of the oregano is going to seed. Can you see that? The little bee and stuff that's going crazy. All right. So anyway, I also have some garlic chives that are planted in there. And these are like sugar baby watermelons. And they are just very happy. Very, very happy. I've got some blooms on there that hopefully are going to turn into delicious watermelons. I'm kind of excited about it. Now I had 2 potato beds that I have already. These are zinnias on the outside of them. They're not looking real happy. I'm going to actually transplant them, I think, out in my front yard. But I ended up getting blight. So these were Yukon Gold. Those are russets. Now these have already been pulled up and are curing. These, I just noticed that I can see some poking through the top. So I'm going to need to get these out. These russets, I was just letting them cure in the ground for a little bit. That didn't look too bad, and this one actually looks really healthy. I'm going to let this one go as long as possible to see the difference in size, to see if I can get some that'll grow to true size of a russet. So we'll see. But anyway, there is that. Oh, I don't know if you can see this little thing, but it's really cute. Let me come over here. So this girl, I also work at a radio station. I'm a DJ on the air, and this girl, Kristen, who listens to our station, because my name is Shelly, she paints shells with all kinds of things, and she painted me these shells, and it's Shell-E. Get it? Isn't that cute? I love it. So, yeah. So as we move past all of that, let me come to this side, and I'll show you. So this is my first cattle panel trellis, and it comes up and over, and we'll start on this side. This one, that peony has to get planted out in my front yard. This one has cucumbers. It's got some dill in there, and I've got a couple different flowers and stuff that are really dying because of the heat. I mean, the heat is just horrible. Like right now, what time is it? It's 10:56 in the morning, and it's already like 80 some degrees, and it's humid, and that's what I don't like, is the humidity. It about kills me. But anyway, I've got some cucumbers growing. That one's kind of funky because it's like curling around, but I have other ones down in here that are doing their thing, and there's another one in there. But the beans, I've got beans growing. There are runner beans behind these guys that I threw in for, I don't know, I think I was just like antsy because I wanted to start planting something, but I didn't think it out. And so I planted these runner beans behind, and I've got them just staked up, and they're going a little nutso, as you can see, and I will be harvesting some beans soon. But I also have Japanese eggplant, which I do have an eggplant on that side over there. I'll have to show you. But on top of that, I've got some basil growing in here, and these are all bush beans. So my bush beans are doing great. I also have, I need to get in here and cut off some of these leaves that aren't doing all that great, but I also have some yellow squash, which I need to probably pick that one. There is a zucchini plant or two in here as well, but I haven't gotten any zucchini yet. I need to deadhead these marigolds. There's some chives and another squash over there, but these are doing pretty well. I got to laughing because last year in this bed, I had tomatoes. And I had a ridiculous amount of marigolds in here too, because I just like chaos planted marigolds, and they grew crazy, but I never had a pest problem with my tomatoes. That being said, when I pulled it out, because the marigolds lasted well into December, when I finally pulled them out, apparently some of the dried up things fell to the ground, and now I've got marigolds growing out of my mulch. So I will come over here and just pull them out and replant them like I did over here. And they're growing really well in this tomato bed that is right behind my beans and squash. So these tomatoes I grew from seed. I need to come out here and do some staking and do a little bit of pruning. I try not to prune them as much as possible. I know there's like people are divided on the fence about the pruning thing, but the way I do it is I will leave a sucker. Let me see if I can find one. Do I see a sucker anywhere? I probably will somewhere else, but I'll find it and I'll show you. But anyway, I will prune the leaf portion, the one that's coming out from underneath the sucker. Once the sucker gets good and big, which having said that, look what I just found. The bane of my existence, that dang beetle. And he's just rubbing his little hands together. Well, buddy, you better enjoy your life now, because you are about to die and meet your maker. But anyway, so yeah, so I'm going to get him in just a minute. But okay, so let me show you this. So see this little sucker right here? I will leave the sucker to grow a little bit longer. And once it's established, I'll come in and I'll cut this leaf off, because all this is just a leaf. It doesn't have any fruit on it, but it allows the plant to send its energy to the fruit rather than just all these extraneous leaves that are growing everywhere. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. But yeah, as you can see, I've got tomatoes. Like these are cherry tomatoes that are growing everywhere. What I'm growing in the beds and themselves are sauce tomatoes. They are both Amish paste and super sauce. Now I only have a few of the super sauce. I wanted to try them because they're supposed to get up to like a pound a piece, and they're supposed to be great. But the problem with super sauce is because it's a hybrid sort of. Okay, wait, I'm gonna stop right now and I'm gonna show you this. You see this right here? That's a sucker. It's pretty established, so I'm just gonna come in and cut off this leaf that was underneath it so that it will start feeding these fruits rather than going to that leaf for no reason. Okay, back to the super sauce. So super sauce is supposed to be super big. It's a paste tomato, great for sauces. That's why it's called super sauce. But the problem is that the fruit is so big and heavy that you have to stake them, and they're indeterminate, which means they will continue growing. Like they can get up to, I think, 12 feet tall, if I'm not mistaken. So what I'm going to end up doing is I use these natural canes, and I'm going to put another cane next to this, probably down to about here, and zip tie here to where it goes much taller and allow the tomatoes to grow as high as they want. So I don't know, we will see. But here's what I've noticed about the super sauce. Since I grew all this from seed, the super sauce did not have great root structure when I went to go repot. It just seemed like a frail plant compared to the Amish pastes that I did. So I don't know. I have more Amish paste, way more Amish paste than I do the super sauce. So we'll see. And as you can see, everything is fruiting up nicely, and it's looking good. Let's tuck in here and see. Yeah. So what else I have in this bed? I also have, because pepper plants like to be shaded, they don't like full sun. I wanted to try a pepper. Down here you can see this pepper right here. It's called a nata jalapeno, and it has all the flavor of a jalapeno, but no heat. And that's what I'm talking about. I like spice, but not necessarily jalapeno spice. I don't really care for that too much. So I'm gonna wait and see. I've got 2 of them down there. I've got a couple more pepper plants in here that are doing their thing. So we'll see. I've got some holy basil growing. I have marigolds and more basil going around the side. And then if you come over here, I've got like an apple tree in a pot, and all those flowers need to get planted. Those are things that I did from seed that are still down there. All of these need to get potted up. I haven't done that yet. But as you can see over here, I have more tomatoes. I've got more of these cherry tomatoes. I think these are sweet 100s. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, I think they're sweet 100s. But I've got these growing, and they're doing really, really well, as you can see. I have another apple tree over here. We've got the one that's potted up in this pot, but I have another one to cross-pollinate that is still sitting here that I need to get in a pot. Okay, and yeah, you can grow them in a pot. I try to buy a dwarfed variety so that they don't grow as big, but they're going to produce some really great apples. I mean, the one that's in the pot already is a Gravenstein apple, and the other one I think is a McIntosh. So we will see. I would give my left arm to be able to grow a Cosmic Crisp, but I'm in North Carolina, and legally they can only be sold in Washington State, because I think it's the University of Washington has or it might be Washington State University that has a patent on them, and you can't. And you can't grow them from seed because it's a hybrid. It was grafted onto another tree, and that's how they grew them. So anyway, a lot of useless knowledge that I have. If I ever play Jeopardy, I'll be good. These over here are slicer tomatoes that I have. I think I have like 2 plants in here at the front. And as you can see, I've got more down here growing. Other than that, I have more of these paste tomatoes that are growing. And they're growing very high. These have gone above the canes already. So I need to come in here, and I need to get these canes staked up so that I can attach them to them, and they can just continue growing like crazy. There is some garlic in here. Now, I thought I was doing right, but I really was not. And I grew garlic in this bed around where I had my broccoli and cauliflower planted, and they did great while I had the broccoli and cauliflower planted. But when I went and I removed that after the season in the fall, and I planted the garlic, or the garlic had already been planted and it was doing great, I forgot that when I planted the tomatoes in here, they were really going to throw a lot of shade to the garlic. And garlic and tomatoes, even though they do grow well together technically, I mean, you need a little finesse with it. The garlic really hasn't done as well as I'd like it to. I have some that are looking really good, but others that are just not all that great. So I'm going to be adding some more beds. I'm going to extend this out another probably 8 feet or so and have 2 more long beds that are going to go side by side, or sorry, end to end along this side of the garden and go out. And I'm going to just exclusively do like onions and garlic in that area. This is an elderberry tree, and I'm so thrilled with it so far because this elderberry tree was teeny tiny last year when I planted it in this tub. Now, these tubs, I've got to tell you, I get these from Lowe's. They're not meant for plants per se. They're like just storage tubs or whatever you might put kids' stuff in it, like toys and stuff. But they're $10. You can't find an 18-gallon planter for $10. So I go in, I drill out the bottom, I put some rocks in the bottom for good drainage, I fill it with whatever mix that I'm going to use, and then I plant it in here, and look how well this is doing. Look at these elderberry flowers. They're gorgeous. They smell really good. And I'm really hoping that I get some elderberries off this tree this year to make elderberry syrup. How cool is that? So my lemon balm is over here going crazy. And at the end of this large bed, I don't know if you can see it or not, but we're standing by my other large bed. I have cantaloupes growing. Now I have all these cantaloupes that are growing at the end of this bed. And they are growing up a trellis. And yes, they are in with some corn. I'm going to let them trail as much as they need to, but also grow up the trellis. As you can see, they're doing that. And they're doing really well. And then over here, I have 2 of the 3 sisters. Now, I'm counting the cantaloupe as the 3rd of the sister because usually it's squash. But as a melon, I'm just letting them do their thing, and hopefully they're going to perform the same as any other squash would. 3 sisters is corn, beans, and a squash. The beans provide nitrogen because they pull nitrogen from the air and they deposit it in the soil through nodes in their root system, and that helps the corn, which feeds, it's a heavy nitrogen feeder. So that's going to do that. And as you can see, all my corn has come up and it's looking great. The stakes, the canes that I have in here, crisscrossed and everything, I learned last year when I first planted corn that all it takes is one good wind to come in here and boom, the corn goes flat. And I didn't get any corn last year. I did have some ears of corn, but they weren't great. They weren't good. So this year I did that, and we did have some heavy winds last week. And this caning thing, I crisscrossed like one row this way, one row that way, one row this way, one row that way, and then a couple in there that are just going straight or angled in. That has worked so far, and I'm really thrilled by it. So yeah, so my corn's doing okay. And then in here we have runner beans, and the runner beans not only provide that nitrogen, but they wind up the corn, and they help also to stabilize the corn stalks. So they're doing that, and they're doing really well. I have some daikon radish planted down here that's doing okay. And if you come around the side, there are more. Oh, look at you. Hello. I don't want you in my garden, bud. Don't want you in my garden. I don't know where you just go somewhere else. So as you can see, every now and then some cucumber beetles are out here, or squash beetles or whatever you want to call them. They need to die. They just do. So I'm going to be coming out here and spraying with some BT and some neem oil and see if we can get them to go bye-bye. But I have tons of cucumber flowers. I'm really like, right there's one that hopefully is going to turn into a beautiful cucumber, and it's going to be great. So I don't know what happened here, but this tassel, oh yes I do. I got caught by the cucumber, and it was like sitting over. So there we go. But yeah, so that's what I've got growing there. So cucumbers, tomatoes, beans, corn, carrots, onions, the whole 9 yards. And if you come over this way, my parsley has gone to seed, and I'm just letting it do it. It's bolted, and I'm just letting it do it. We're trying to refurbish our deck and everything, so that's why there's a bunch of mess back there. But I've got bee balm, and they've been going crazy. More herbs, just tons of stuff. I even have a mandarin orange tree over here. Now, this mandarin orange tree produced flowers, but my other mandarin orange tree did not produce flowers this year, so because it's too small. So I'm hoping that they both produce flowers next year, and they cross-pollinate and I get some mandarin oranges. That would be awesome. They're the what are they called? Golden nugget. So they're kind of lumpy looking and stuff, but they're supposed to be super duper sweet. So I've got all of that. They've got raspberries and blackberries growing. I have a huge fig tree in my yard that we need to have somebody come out and do some stuff to. Another elderberry tree that's growing. And this is my grapevine that I just planted this year. And even though it's in here, and I've got another one in a pot that needs to be planted in another planter. Look at that. I actually have 2 bunches of grapes grown. That is so cool to me. I don't know why. But I mean, tell me that just doesn't look like something you'd see like in a beautiful table book or something, like coffee table book. But yeah, so I grabbed some branches and made a makeshift trellis for right now. I'm not done with it, but yeah, so everything's growing okay. I'm pretty thrilled by it. So that's my little garden. That's what I got going on right now. So I hope you're having a wonderful June so far. Stay cool, stay well hydrated, keep your pets inside and all that kind of good stuff. It's too hot for them, man. It's too hot for me, and I don't even have a fur coat on. So have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.